Good morning or good afternoon or good evening because I don't know at what time are you going to be watching this, but this is your professor speaking, Salvador Colon. And today I am going to give you an introduction to speech anatomy, okay, which this will lead you to have a better understanding on pronouncing vowels, all of these sounds like vowels and consonants, okay. For me, it's very important that I explain this to you in a way that you see it natural, as I've been telling you in the past lessons. The whole oral communication, the oral process, the listening process, it's something that it's natural to us. Okay, so I want to explain this, and I want you to look at it in a way that you are aware that this is happening. Okay, very important before watching my recording. Please watch the video that I posted. I have it right here. Give me 1 second. It's the one that is called "How Does the Human Body Produces the Voice and Speech." So make sure you watch that video first, and then afterwards comment and watch the my recording, where I'm going to make reference to the video and all of that, but also focusing on the speech anatomy. Okay, so as the video well explained, the everything related to speech in general, which allows us to produce sounds. These sounds, which are consonants and vowels, as I mentioned earlier, it is unique to us. That we already talked about that as well in the classroom, but this is something that it's really complex. Okay, I don't know if you watched the video. Well, as soon as you watch the video, I should say, you're gonna notice, right, that I'm gonna make reference to it in the sense that if you look at it, this is a really complicated process. Okay, I have already explained to you how the oral communication process works and the listening process as well, which is already really complicated. But this time around, I'm bringing forward the anatomy, all right, our physiology, how we integrate all of those three things all together and have this wonder of a thing that we're capable of producing sounds that have a meaning, right? Speech, talking to one another and understanding each other. Okay, so I'm right now projecting this image right over here uh, uh, of a woman. All right, let me first of all get this in a full screen and let's zoom out a little bit. Just leave it at 100, much better. So here you have the head of a person, all right, in this case of a woman, and notice that you have there many words signaling different aspects of our anatomy. Okay, sometimes I like to tell my students that in a way it's kind of weird because if you look at it, we are this complicated being, and then you see that we have all of this inside our head and inside our body, right? Now, for example, our mouth, it's capable of uh, three things: eating, breathing, and talking. Okay, but it's not just like that. It is a process that is occurring at a subconscious level. It's something that it's innate. We do it every day. We learn it as we go. Well, we learn how to work with it because we already come programmed. As soon as you watch the video, you're gonna notice that there is a moment where they present like a baby. So, and I told you this before in class, when we were babies, we were not capable of articulating and talking in at school, but we were able at least to make some sounds. And we talked about this in terms of if we are in a need and we are a 3 year old month baby, we're gonna cry, we're gonna cool, we are gonna babble, but it's to communicate something. And as we do all of that, it's part of the whole process of not improving of acquiring the tools that are necessary for us to produce speech as the adults do. Okay, so all of these aspects that we have on this image right over here, are extremely important. I am going to mention them as we go, and I'm going to make reference to a particular website and to the video as well, because I want you to see at least, I'm not going to give you the whole thing, but at least a couple of examples for you to understand of what happens inside your mouth, okay, in order to that for that sound to be produced. Okay, now one of the first thing, there is a direct relationship between your lungs and your breathing ability and speech. Okay, and that will be interacting with I don't know if you can see it here also, with this area, okay, with the vocal cords or the folds. These are located in larynx, okay, are located within the larynx. It is very important that you are aware. In the video, you're going to have an idea of how it looks. I can show it to you just to make reference to it real quick. Let me go over here for 1 second. And I know that it could be a little bit nasty at first, but it's how we work on it on our everyday lives.
Speaking, the vocal fold.
And there you have. So these are this and this are the vocal cords. The air comes through here, okay, and that's what gives us the ability to basically speak. The interaction between the air and the vocal folds will start to vibrate. Okay, so you will have here, for example, there's an
Folds
example in
are
this
open
video.
so that you can breathe.
I believe you're
Voice is
listening to it as well.
generated by airflow from the lungs.
So,
When it's time to speak, the pressure below.
Hello.
and there you have it. Okay, there you have that's closed, and there we have that interaction. That later on, I will be explaining as we go, because I will be starting first with the vowels, and then afterwards with the consonants. So as soon as those vocal cords they closed, they interact. That airflow will cause a vibration. Particularly if you touch the area of your throat, you're going to feel that vibration in particular ways. In some ways, it could be a little bit difficult to detect. Okay. But as soon as we start practicing, you're going to notice, and I'm going to tell you, right, to place your hand on your throat, and you're going to feel that vibration. Okay, and that aspect, it's very important. You are not entirely aware of it. Okay, so as you go, you're gonna go, okay, so this is happening inside of me. Okay, so as soon as the air goes through the larynx, so we're gonna have that interaction right here. Okay, so here we got different areas, but I just want you to understand, right, that we have, I'm gonna draw some lines over here. You're gonna have the airflow going upwards through here. Okay, and notice that here we got a couple of things. We got two pathways, right? We got the pathway that will give us direction to the mouth, but we also have a pathway right over here, okay, that it will lead you to the nasal cavity. It plays a role in terms of the nasal cavity depending on the consonant that you're going to be pronouncing, and we're going to see that later on. But this is really important. The whatever airflow goes through this, it will start like uh rebounding basically through the cavity. Something, just imagine something like that. I know for me, although I love this, it's kind of nasty. Okay, so you're gonna see or feel, I should say, air coming out of your nasal cavity. Okay, but also you will have air going out of your mouth. Okay, and that air, it will happen the same thing. It will start to interact with all of the elements that you have inside of your mouth, okay, causing obstructions. And those obstructions will produce sounds, okay? Now, that, let me get rid of this for a second. So, let me leave it there for a second. So, as soon as we have these interactions, and if we focus, for example, here, you get the airflow is gonna find an obstruction. It could be the tongue. All right, the area of the tongue will have something of a huge important role, because it depends where it moves, you will be producing sounds. Okay. For example, for the vowels are open. What I mean is that your vocal cords will be vibrating at all times. All right. And the tongue will be in different positions. So depending on the position of the tongue, it'll be the vowel that you will be producing. Okay, so I can show you real quick over here. I have an IPA chart right over here. And okay, let me eliminate the arrows for a second. Okay, and let's go to the vowels. And I'm just gonna give you a clip, like a short hint. Okay, if we see something like this, all right, this table is a vowel chart, and this will basically resemble the position of your tongue. Okay, so it depends where is the movement, it'll be the production of a particular sound. It could be an E, it can be an A, E, O, U, which you already know in Spanish. Okay, las vocales del español, A, E, I, O, U. But this is something we're going to discuss later on for the English language, and there is a lot of variations. There are more than five vowels. Okay, so depending on the position of your tongue, you will be producing whichever of these sounds, which for us, which are we are native speakers of the Spanish language, it's a little bit difficult because we don't use these sounds. We start to use them as we start to acquire another language. Okay, so very important for you to understand this aspect. This is something that I'm going to make reference. If you do not understand it at the moment, that's fine. Don't worry about it. This is an introduction. Just keep an open mind, okay, about this, and try to embrace what I'm explaining to you in the fact that you do this every day. Okay. You do not necessarily think where are you positioning your tongue, but you do it. It's like walking, as I've been telling you for the past lessons. This is something that is at a subconscious level. It's like when your heart is beating, you are not controlling it. All right, so it's doing it. You're in a it is in a subconscious level. Okay, so let's go back to the PDF here. So now I talked about the tongue. Okay, we have it right here. But we also have other things, right? Other factors that will make different sounds, okay? The tongue, particularly, will play a role, but there are things that will produce or I should say it will present as an obstruction, and it will be producing different sounds. For example, we got the lips right over here. Okay, the lips will play a role, okay, in producing sounds like M and P, M and Pa. Okay. And just to show you an example real quick, here we got, all right, here we got Pa that I mentioned. And we have it here.
Upper, upper,
This video is a little bit slow,
EP,
but here you can notice, let me loop it so this doesn't end. Okay. Here you're going to notice, it's looping.
upper,
Yeah, it's looping. You're going to notice
upper,
that we have
EP,
the lips are closing and it's
upper,
causing an obstruction. And if you
upper,
look at the rest of it,
EP,
look at this. Okay. Look at all the
upper,
obstructions. You got the tongue and the lips.
upper,
We can look at this video in terms of an animation. Okay.
upper, upper,
And here you have it.
upper,
Now imagine that I'm going to draw some lines. So the same thing. The air goes through here, goes through here. Now notice how narrow is that space. How narrow. Right now the lips are open, but in reality they're more narrower than ever. So that short interruption or obstruction will be producing that sound of pa, 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 pa. And then we have another one that's believe you, it'll be the b. But there's a difference between these two. Both are believio's, but one is voiced and the other one will be voiceless. P will be voiceless, okay, and b will be voice. You will feel a vibration, but as we start discussing the consonants later on, I will explain more in detail. Okay, but I want you to look at this other example. Let me have the animation. Yeah. Now,
b,
look at this.
b,
Look at the airflow again. It's already present there.
b,
And you're going
b,
to see through
b,
all of this area, you're going to have
b,
that airflow going through all
b,
of this area. Notice that although the teeth are in the way, but the muscle or the articular that you're moving the most, let me now, because I believe it'll be interrupting me. So the lips are basically coming together, and as the airflow goes, you will have that sound or those sounds, for example, b and p. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one extra example with the nasal bilabial. That will be the M sound, which I explained earlier. Let me mute it and loop it. And here you got the same thing. I hope that you're seeing the arrows that I pointed out in Google Meet. But the airflow is going through here. And notice that this part right over here opens up, and that means that the airflow is going into the nasal cavity. That's why you sound like mm, mom, mama. It's the same thing. Okay, so in this particular aspect, these are some of them. All right, we are going to explain this later on as we go, but I'm just giving you a short introduction to this. Okay, let me erase this. Now other obstructions that we can find on the way, at least air, find it through there. Let me, okay, we'll have the teeth right over here. Okay, oops, let me clear this out. Not bad. And let's use the disappearing ink. And here we have the teeth. Okay, we'll have some labial dental consonants that we are going to be producing in a couple of weeks. Okay, so that is also one articulator. Okay, and you will have the alveolar reach right here. There is an area that's called the alveolar reach. Let me zoom out a little so you can see the name. So look at it right here. This area right over here, it is the alveolar reach. So when you're pronouncing certain sounds, particularly some consonants, the tongue will touch a little bit of it. It will rise up and will basically narrow the roof of your mouth, or be the hard palate in that case, and you will be producing certain sounds. Okay, here we got other aspects. We got the epiglottis. Yes, esophagus is right there. Obviously through the esophagus we have also sounds. The hard palate will play a role as well. But the aspect that I wanted to share more with you guys was basically um the aspect of how all of these interact. Okay, so you're gonna see all of this play on different aspects as we go, but this is something that you do on daily basis. All right, you're totally unaware of it, and maybe some of you might have heard at some point, but for me, it's important that we highlight this aspect in this particular class, which is, of course, the aspect of oral communication. This will help you be a little bit more aware, and you will start to try to articulate places that you were not aware of, and your pronunciation of certain words will start to improve here and there. But you need to practice. Okay, as we go, you're gonna have uh, this. Obviously, I'm going to share this with you guys, but we're going to be working a lot with these tables. Particularly here we got the table of the consonants. Right out the bat, I don't want you to get scared. Here we got, this is an APA chart. These are symbols that will be representing basically different sounds. In this case, these are representing consonants. Says here, pulmonic produced with air from the lungs, which is basically the same thing I explained to you a few minutes ago, and something that you will see in the video as well. So it's very, very important that you are aware of this. I'm not gonna ask you to transcribe a word to using IPA or something like that, so don't get scared. So most likely, we're not going to cover all of the consonants, but at least I would like to focus on some of them, at least like 3 to 4 sets. Okay, and this will help you a lot. Okay, so this will be the IPA chart for consonants. Then, as I showed you earlier, this is the vowel chart. In this case, we don't have like a tongue right here where you can see it move, but I would like to show you at least with one of these vowels. Let's go with the E, for example.
E,
Let me loop
EP,
and
ET,
look right here for the E.
E,
If you look at the chart, it's going to say that
EP,
you're going to go front high.
ET,
And notice in this particular area how it
E,
moves. All right,
EP,
it rises, and that will
ET,
be producing, okay, that sound,
E,
which is the vowel E. And we have
EP,
it in Spanish. Okay,
ET,
something else, although we can't see it clearly in this video, the vocal cords
E,
are right here. And
EP,
when I mentioned earlier about
ET,
vibrations, you're going to see that it's going to move. If I show you the other version
E,
of this video, which I'm going to do
EP,
it'll be,
E,
for some reason, it doesn't have it on this one. So let me go back to the consonants and let me show you the vocal cords, at least how they are represented on these videos.
upper,
I want the animation. Got the animation right here. And this one
upper,
is a voiceless sound. In this case, it's a voiceless consonant. And
upper,
notice that here, this is the vocal cord. And if you see it, it is static. It's not moving. And if it moves, it's something really a small amount. So that means that the sound, the p sound, doesn't vibrate. Okay. Now, if I show you the other sound, if you look at it closely, let me mute it so you guys don't get all confused. The vocal cord vibrates, which means that this consonant is voiced. All right. I am mentioning this a lot of what is voiced and voiceless now, because as we go through the consonants, particularly, we're going to be working with some pair of sounds, and that will be the trick for you to identify the pronunciation. Okay, and there's some elements in terms of grammar that if you look closely at the tentative schedule, you're going to notice, and maybe you can go ahead and maybe expose yourself a little bit to this. Okay, so this aspect of introduction of I said introduction, this aspect of pronunciation and speech anatomy, it's really, really vital. It's important. Okay, I would like to go back here. I am showing you all of this, okay? But there are at least, if you do a little bit of research, you're gonna find tons of other websites. They will have different charts and tables. All right. For example, there is this one website that I used to use. I used to work with a lot when I was back in my bachelor's degree. It's not working anymore in terms of English language, but in terms of phonetics, it works. You can see the sounds and everything there. See, here we have a similar chart. I will be sharing this chart for you guys so you can uh, play around with it. Let's double check this. This one doesn't show us a video, as you can see, but it gives us the sound. Okay, so make sure that you go over this. Really important for you to watch the video. The video, how does the human communicate? Go to through each part. All right, particularly focus on this one. How do we produce sound? Okay, it explains everything beautifully. Okay, I will mute it so we can go over it and you can have a different perspective. So I believe it's before this. Yes, it's before this. Right over here we have, and notice how it relates the different functions, the different activities that we do. For example, how we breathe. Okay, how we breathe. So it's relating breathing with speech production. Okay, so now picture this: you're you're breathing, and as soon as you are going to talk, all of that air will come out of your lung. Okay, your lungs, I should say. I said lung. Okay, so it should come out of your lungs, and you will have this. Here you got the lungs right here. Okay, now that air will start to go up and up and up, and you're gonna see as soon as the video goes by. Okay, I like to show the anatomical part of this because it means that we are so complex, that we are like a walking fletch machine, that we are able and capable of doing so many things. And one of these, it's producing speech, the ability of talking. And notice here in the video, I'll pause it for a second so you can have another perspective of this. You're gonna have again the vocal cords. They're right over here. Okay, that means that the air will come out of the lungs through here. Obviously, it has to go through the vocal cords, but that won't stop the air, and it will go all the way up through here. Okay, and sometimes it will go into the nasal cavity, and you will feel that air coming out of your nose. Okay, so that said, uh, please give it a try. Okay, if you are in the field of science, I know that I have some students who are in speech pathology. So most likely you have heard of this or you will hear of this pretty soon. Please look at it. How complicated we are. How we do this and we're not even thinking about it. Okay, this is the wonder of being us humans. Okay, so again, watch the video, go over this document, very important. It'll be titled speech anatomy. Okay, and you'll have all of these important elements that are part of our speech anatomy. Okay, reviewing things that you need to know, particularly the vocal cords. They play a very vital role. I will focus a lot on the area of the tongue, the importance of it. Okay, the area here of the tongue, the nasal cavity. Okay, obviously here you have the mouth, which will be the oral cavity. So all of this are within the oral cavity. We got the tongue, we got the lips, we got the hard palate, all right? The alveolar ridge, which is right over here, it's inside the oral cavity. The teeth, all right, the lips. So all of this will play a vital role to produce sounds, what we use to communicate on our daily life, to send messages, all right, to other persons. Okay, and we breathe, we eat, and we talk again. Okay, so this is how amazing we are as humans. And for me, it's fascinating explaining this to you guys. And this will not be the last time. As we continue to discuss the vowels and the consonants, I'm gonna go back to these documents. I want you to be aware of this and to learn how are you working. Okay, so make sure you study all of this. If you have questions with any of it, maybe at the moment you won't have any of these. As we start practicing all the different sounds, most likely you're going to start to wonder, okay, so this is how we work. All right. So that said, we'll leave it here. Very important. I will be I will be sharing with you guys a couple of tasks. Please complete them. Okay, be ready then during our next meeting. That will be the Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday, I believe the 17th. Let me double check that. I believe it's the 17th. Yep. The 17th, you'll have a quiz on this. Okay, so make sure that you watch the video, go over this document, and if you want to explore more about this topic, by all means, all right. And as a fact, okay, this is as a fact of me personally and professionally speaking, this for me was the game changer for me to do what I'm doing today. All right, so I just want to put that out there that for me this was an inspiration. Learning about all of these aspects of sounds and how complicated we are as human beings and how we produce sounds, how we communicate ourselves. This is more than just talking. All right, there is a physical aspect of this. There is a psychological aspect, okay, and an automatic and oh my god, my bad, an anatomy aspect of it. Okay, so just enjoy this. Okay, and if you liked it, share with someone else. Okay, so very important to complete all the tasks. Please, before doing the task, review all of it first. Okay, and then afterwards, if you have any questions, doubts, or concerns, leave me a private comment. Okay, so I can clear up your concerns. Okay, well, I hope everybody's doing well, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Okay, take care, everybody.